Welcome back to another episode of the Fritts Show. We have the college football rankings tonight. I'm doing a live review, live reaction, and then we'll jump into the picks. Stay tuned for the picks. I'll have the rankings to my left. They're going right now. Number 25, Tulane. No problem with that. 8-2, only 2 losses. OU back when they were more functional. We got Army here at number 24. Look, the Golden Knights, Black Knights, excuse me, not Golden Knights, up 1. We still have Missouri in the top 25. Look, I still hate that. I still don't think they're a top 25 caliber football team. If they go 10-2, I don't think they're making it. So I could drop them out of the top 25 and then be fine with that. LSU right above them at number 22, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm okay with that. Here we go. South Carolina at number 21. South Carolina, USC Junior for those that are okay with that. I love South Carolina in the top 25. Finally, it's about time, ladies and gentlemen. It is about time. Really good football team, and they're above an LSU team that beat them. That is significant because normally the committee does not do that, but they did it for South Carolina. I think that speaks to how South Carolina is playing right now. Really good football team for South Carolina right now. Love where they're at. Clemson is right above them. We know they end the year playing South Carolina, so that'll be a fun matchup. Still not super impressed with Clemson. Louisville, who beat Clemson 6-3. I think they're going to be the highest 3-loss team. I would have South Carolina as my highest 3-loss team. But, that's neither here nor there. This is just good to see what the committee thinks of these teams. Washington State moving up. Good offense at Washington State. We'll get to the pick later. I might shock you guys with the pick on the Washington State game later. Not playing super high-level competition, but they're winning football games, and that's all that matters. Colorado at number 17, ladies and gentlemen. This team right here, now the betting favorites in the Big 12. They're up to 17 in the rankings. Have no problem with Colorado at 17 at all, ladies and gentlemen. At all. Really actually like where they're at there. Really actually like where they're at. I'm interested to see. I assume we'll have Kansas State above them at number 16 is probably where the committee is going to go there. Yep, Kansas State at 16. Call me a wizard because I can tell the future. I'm not shocked by Kansas State being above them. They still have the head-to-head over Colorado, so that's not shocking. This group right here of these teams, like Louisville, really, I can't see them getting into the college football playoff. There have to be a lot of chaos for the ACC to get Louisville in. They need some help. Texas A&M, they didn't even play last weekend and they dropped a spot. So I find that interesting. They went from 14 to 15, didn't play a game. Not sure exactly who's going to be above them, who jumped above them. I can't remember off the top of my head who was even there. So we'll find out here in a second who jumped above Texas A&M. But that's odd to me because I would think they're rewarding Texas A&M for how they played it. Yeah, they got obliterated by South Carolina, but other than that, they've played some really solid football, beat some good teams. SMU at 14. I think SMU's too low. I think I have them in my rankings about 11, 10. I think they're the best team in the ACC right now. So at 13, we have Boise State. I believe Boise State was 12 last week, so they dropped a spot as well. Not really sure how that happens. They didn't play that great in their last game, only won by 7 or 10. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Ashton GT's still up there for the Heisman. Good football team in Boise State, but at 13, that puts them in the playoffs because they're the highest group of 5 right now. Georgia Bulldogs. I was interested to see where they would put Georgia. Dropped them all the way to number 12, ladies and gentlemen. They went from 3 to 12, ladies and gentlemen. That means Ole Miss is soaring from 15 or 16, wherever Ole Miss was. They're going from 15 or 16 up into the top 11. Ole Miss is. With their 2 losses, they're going all the way up into the top 11 or 12. That's impressive. And that honestly, Georgia being that low is kind of shocking. They have a chance to tell the committee, hey, you're wrong here when they play most likely a top 5 team in Tennessee. We'll get there in a second when the rankings are revealed. But that's kind of shocking for Georgia to be all the way at 12 right now, which would put them out of the playoffs based on this scenario that the committee is giving us. There we go. Ole Miss is 1 above them. Ole Miss is at 11. So that puts them as the 11 seed. Duh. 8-2 for Ole Miss right now. I really like where they're at. Excuse me. I said it after the Kentucky game. I said people are writing Ole Miss off right now. How can you lose to Kentucky? How can you lose to Kentucky? And I said, don't write Ole Miss off yet, ladies and gentlemen. Do not write Ole Miss off. They are still here. They are still super talented. They had all in on this season, and they can still win everything they want to win. And if you fast forward 3-4 weeks, here we are now. I believe that was 5 weeks ago, but fast forward 5 weeks, here we are now. And Ole Miss, everything is still there for them. They can still win the SEC. That can still get them a bye in the playoffs. Everything is in front of the Ole Miss Rebels right now. Right in front of them, Alabama at number 10. Alabama's too low, folks. Alabama is too low. The way they play when they play their best is, I think, better than any team in the country when they play their best. And I think we've seen Alabama's best more than we've seen the other team's best. You think the first half against Georgia, I think that was Alabama at their best. You think the entire LSU game, I think we've seen Alabama at their best. Let's go to some other teams. Oregon, probably still going to be number one here. I'm not even sure we have seen them at their best, but what we've seen of what they've given us, okay. This is a shocker, ladies and gentlemen. Miami, still the ACC leader, so they would still be the 4 seed. They're at number 9, and I don't love that from Miami. I don't love them being at number 9. I would have SMU personally above Miami. You look at the losses that SMU and Miami have had, and the amount of close calls that SMU and Miami have had. It doesn't really even compare. SMU's going to have a loss against a top 7 BYU team. Miami has a loss against a Georgia Tech team, and Miami has countless other games where they could have lost, but they didn't. Right here, we got Notre Dame, Tennessee, 8-7. Notre Dame is basically locked in. The committee is loving Indiana and BYU right now, folks. They are. I dropped BYU based on what I saw from them last week against Utah. No shame in that. I dropped them, and the committee is bumping them up after what they saw. I'm not sure how that works. They're giving them credit for their wins, which I think is what the committee should do. But they always say they're ranking the 12 best teams. And right now, we're if the playoffs started today, ladies and gentlemen, we would have a lot of issues. There we go. BYU is number 6 in the country right now. Number 6, that would put them as the 3 seed. I know this is ridiculous. Automatic buys, automatic bids, whatever you want to call it, is concerning. We got a 9 seed as the 4 seed. We got a 6 seed as the 3 seed. We got a Georgia team that's 12th, but they're actually out because we got a Boise State team that's behind them, but they're in. It's absolute chaos, ladies and gentlemen. And I think they're bumping BYU up because they're putting a lot of stock in that SMU win earlier in the year. But again, how is SMU that low? How is SMU below Miami? They both have 1 loss. SMU's dominating their opponents. SMU, their 1 loss is to their number 6 seed, the committee's number 6 seed. Miami, their 1 loss isn't even on the planet of these college football playoff rankings. So far, that is my biggest gripe from the committee right now. SMU should be ahead of Miami based on all of the committee's metrics, every single one of the committee's metrics, except they're probably not watching SMU play football right now, ladies and gentlemen. As the number 5 seed, we have the Indiana Hoosiers, IU. I have Indiana as my number 2 team in the country right now. Not shocked to see them at number 5. That's a good spot for them. Honestly, they could be below BYU in the rankings. It doesn't really matter because either way, BYU would be a 3 seed and Indiana wouldn't, based on the committee's rankings right now. But I could see Indiana being lower than BYU just based on their resumes. But I think they're putting a lot of stock in the eye test for Indiana right now. And I think they think the Michigan win was impressive. And I know you're thinking, Ian, Michigan, not an impressive football team by any means. Look, the defense at Michigan, they still have NFL talent at every single level and multiple guys at every single level. So to do what they did in the first half, especially against Michigan, and then kind of put it into coasting gear in the second half, I think the committee is thinking, hey, we should probably start taking them seriously. Now, again, I have issue with Penn State being number 4, ladies and gentlemen, because Penn State at 4, they've beaten nobody. They have the same resume as Indiana, except Penn State has a loss, a quality loss, which the word quality loss makes no sense to me. There's no such thing as a quality loss. You lost the football game. You lost the game. You should be punished for losing football games. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. Indiana hasn't lost a game yet. They may lose to Ohio State. We don't know yet, but they should be ahead of Penn State. They've played the same teams up till now, and Indiana's beat them more considerably. Unbelievable. That's my Penn State soapbox. I have the same reasoning for Indiana being up above Ohio State in my rankings as well. They just revealed that the Texas Longhorns will be at number 3. And I'm not sure how I'll have the graphic here to my side. I'll probably put them up in systems of 5 so you can see those teams at those points. But this is my live commentary as I'm seeing these rankings. And look, inconsistency left and right from the college football playoff committee here. They're ranking these solely based on good wins, or excuse me, quality losses is what this looks like, folks. Quality losses is basically how you're getting ranked. Now they are consistent except for Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas with the undefeated teams, one-loss teams. I don't think they have any one-loss team. Well, SMU right there. I'm lying to myself right now. There's no consistency. Yep, you got Oregon at number 1, which would put Ohio State as the number 5 seed. Just absolutely bonkers. I don't know what. Look, I may catch some hate for this, but personally, Ohio State, not the number 2 team in the country right now, folks. Oregon, I have them as my number 1, but I could very well put Indiana there. Look, my biggest gripes with these college football playoff rankings are Miami above SMU, shouldn't happen, and Penn State, Ohio State being where they are. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. Those are my initial thoughts. Those are my initial reactions. I may have said absolutely nothing of importance, but that's what happens when you do live television, folks. And you're thinking, Ian, this isn't live. Well, it's live to me, but it's post-produced to you. Let's jump into the picks. All right, folks, we're jumping into the picks. You just saw my live reaction to the rankings. Have some issues. You heard about them. We're jumping into the picks. If you're new here, this is my overall record. I pick every single top 25 teams game against the spread that weekend. We had a rough week last week. We're fixing to bounce back this week, and we got a new arrival to the top 25, the Tulane Green Wave. And a lot of you know how I feel about the Tulane Green Wave logo. I think it's an elite logo in college football. That has nothing to do with the pick. I only go based on the gut here at the Ian Fritts Show. We don't have any algorithms. We don't have any fancy number system, fancy power rating. We have none of that. We got my gut right here, and my gut is right. We are taking Tulane -7 against the triple option, against the Navy midshipmen. Hat tip Navy, great year. It's coming to an end right here against the Tulane Green Wave. Next game up. This game, about 5 weeks ago, you thought nothing of this game. Nothing of this game. Now we kind of think a lot about this game. One, Missouri, they're number 23 in the CFP rankings. South Carolina, number 21 in the CFP rankings. Okay. And quite frankly, look, you see the line right there, 12.5 for South Carolina. You're thinking, what in the world is this line against a team in the AP that was ranked behind Missouri? I'm not sure what they're doing with Missouri. I don't even think they should be ranked. Get them out of there, if you ask me. This one's no-brainer, folks. I think South Carolina is going to obliterate. That's a big word for some of you out there. I couldn't spell it, neither can you. Obliterate Missouri, folks. Obliterate them. Give me South Carolina -12.5. Look, some of you just saw this on the screen right here, and you're thinking, what is this guy doing? Is he psychotic? I'm not psychotic, ladies and gentlemen. I want the Florida Gators +4.5 against LSU at home. They just got their wheels blown off. The entire wagon was blown up last week against Texas, honestly, for both of these teams. And LSU, they still have a little bit to play for. You think Florida, what do they have to play for? The coaches would like to coach these guys and try and not lose their jobs, folks. That's what's at stake for, some would say, both of these programs. I'm going mainly Florida there, but I think Florida gets the job done. They cover the 4.5. I don't know who wins, but I like Florida +4.5. Clemson -10 at Pitt, folks. This is a game where the gut was kind of given mixed signals. It was like Clemson. It was like Pitt. Clemson, Pitt, Clemson, Pitt. It couldn't decide, ladies and gentlemen. So I just went with the initial reaction, and it was Clemson minus 10, mainly because Pitt, I just can't get around Pitt being actually a good football team. The college football playoff rankings committee, whatever you want to call them, they dropped them completely out of the top 25 as they should be. I'm completely okay with that. I dropped them out of my top 25 as well. Yeah, so give me Clemson minus 10. That's what the gut told me. Louisville at Stanford. Stanford, not very good, folks. The Cardinals, the Trees, whatever you want to call them, not a very good football team this year. So I like Louisville. Scotty Scheffler, not a good place for him. So give me Louisville minus 20.5 at the Trees, at the Cardinal, at the Stanford. Next game up, Washington State minus 13.5 at New Mexico Lobos. Look, the Lobos, I said it in my initial reactions of where Washington State was ranked at. They're 18th right now, folks. Long shot to get in to the playoff. They would have to win all of their games. Basically, there's no chance for them, basically. Now, I still think they're a good football team. However, New Mexico, good offense. They can score some points. I'm not shocked if New Mexico covers this 13.5. Watch out for that this weekend. Some of you would look at this game after it happens, if I'm correct, and be like, what a shocker. What a shocker. That game was closer than I thought. No. Be aware. Watch out for the Lobos. Watch out for the. I'm sure a Lobo is a wolf. So watch out for them against the Cougars. Utah at Colorado. No brainer, folks. Give me Dion. Give me Shador. Give me Shiloh. Give me Travis Hunter. Side note on Travis Hunter. I learned today that he has a younger brother called Travis Hunter. Look, I'm not sure how you could possibly get this a more close non-same name. Travis and Travis. It is mind-boggling that his parents did that. Kudos to them. I guess they just wanted two superior athletes because apparently Travis is a nice little player himself. I don't know if he's quite as good as Travis, but give me Colorado and Travis Hunter minus 10 all day, every day. I think Utah, after last week, after the heartbreak, they're probably in shambles. So give me Colorado minus 10. Arizona State at Kansas State minus 8.5 for the Wildcats. Look, the Wildcats, much better home team. However, Arizona State, Cam Skattebo. Both of these teams only have 2 losses, folks. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think that's why the line is so low. Arizona State's not a team to be messed with. They're not a team where you can think, hey, it's Arizona State. It's the same old Arizona State that's been Arizona State for a while now. No. However, I think Kansas State gets it done and they cover the 8.5 this weekend. However, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Arizona State covered this 8.5. So I could go either way, but the gut was telling me Kansas State minus 8.5 on that one. I don't even need to tell anybody about this one. It's Texas A&M minus 39.5 there. Boston College at SMU. SMU's favored by 17. You heard my rant about how Miami's above SMU. Had a little hiccup there. Again, it doesn't make any sense in my mind. I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking the same thing. Makes no sense. Hate it. Hate every single piece of it. However, I think this one might be a game where SMU gets just a little sleepy. You got a Boston College team coming in there. They're having some quarterback controversies. Thomas Castellanos leaving the team for a couple days, trying to get his feet under himself after being benched. I think this could be a spot where Boston College catches SMU a little bit. Maybe not win, but I like them plus 17 against SMU this weekend. Boise State at San Jose State. Give me San Jose State. Look, Boise State, they're playing with fire a little bit last week, and San Jose State is not a bad football team, folks. Not a bad football team. They stop Ashton Jeanty. They could win this game. I don't know if they win, but give me them plus 13.5. Next game up, it's Alabama. There's not even a line on this game against Mercer, but Mercer's not a bad football team, but give me Alabama. Notre Dame, minus 23 at home against Virginia. I finally predicted a Notre Dame game correctly and picked a Notre Dame game correctly last week, so we're on a hot streak for Notre Dame. Fighting Irish. Notre Dame, minus 23. Here we go. Tag, Tennessee at Georgia. There are some rumors swirling. Bear Felicia said that Nico most likely not going to play this weekend, and I try to not let those things affect the gut, folks. And it didn't because the gut was already telling me take Georgia -9. Georgia is 12th in the college football playoff rankings. Tennessee is 7th. I'd be interested to see what happens to Tennessee after this one if they lose. But give me Georgia at home at night. I like the Georgia Bulldogs there. BYU at home against Kansas -3. Kansas blew the doors off Iowa State last weekend, and I'm not sure they blow the doors off BYU, but I think BYU, they've been caught too much playing with fire. It's over for BYU. At some point, it's going to end, and it's going to get them caught. And I think it's this weekend against the Kansas Jayhawks. Penn State at Purdue. Look, Purdue is one abysmal football team. There's not many teams worse than Purdue right now. So give me Penn State -28.5. It's a lot of points, but I like Penn State. Texas -13.5 at Arkansas. If we get the Texas we saw last weekend against Florida, there is zero chance Arkansas has a chance in this one. However, Arkansas might have, and we're week 12, ladies and gentlemen. Arkansas might have the best passing attack that Texas has faced. What? Yes, week 12, and Arkansas might have the best passing attack that Texas has faced. That could test them. I don't think it will, but if it does, credit the Ian Fritts show and myself for saying this could get them got. I don't think it will, but it could. Ohio State -30 at Northwestern. Look, they're not going to lose. They're not going to lose, but I like Northwestern plus the 30. I think Ohio State might be looking forward to their next game next weekend against Indiana at home. Big game next week against undefeated Hoosiers. They might get caught here and not win by 30, but they're going to win. Oregon at Wisconsin. Let me take a sip here. Last game. You want a mug? Let me know. We'll get you one. Look, Camp Randall, night game. Oregon, number one team in the country, coming off of not a bye, excuse me. They played Maryland. Basically a bye. Sorry, Terrapins. Sorry, Turtles. Look, you're going into Wisconsin, a team that has looked okay at times this year, a team that I was higher on than most, and they kind of let me down. But this could be a game where Wisconsin controls the football, runs the football. Tawee Walker, he could roll over some people bowling pin style. Look, I think Oregon's going to win the game, but I would not be shocked if this one is close coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Give me the Wisconsin Badgers to cover the 14.5, not to win, but give me them to cover the 14.5. That is the last pick for week 12, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind, subscribe down below. Comment, Ian, you're incredible. That was a great preview. That was a great reaction to the college football playoff rankings, the best, most unbiased we've ever heard. Phenomenal job. And I'll respond. And if you want a mug, let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the reaction video this weekend. I love you guys. Bye.